2-3 is on linear functions and slope. So first thing we need to talk about is the slope of a line. Slope of a line through the distinct points x1, y1 and x2, y2 is m is equal to the change in y over the change in x. Another way we can write this is rise over run, or this is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and use this formula to find the slope of a line through the 2 points. For the first one, it's -3, -1, and -2, 4. So let's plug into our formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is just 4 minus -1 all over -2 minus -3. Well, 2 negatives give me a positive. And same thing on the bottom, I've got 2 negatives. So what we really have is 4 plus 1 all over -2 plus 3, but this is just 5 over 1, or just 5. Go ahead and pause the video and try the second one for yourself. So now we have the points -3, 4 and 2, -2. So we're just going to plug it straight back into the formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is -2 minus 4 all over 2 minus -3. We have that double negative in the denominator again, so this really becomes 2 plus 3. So -2 minus 4 is -6 all over 5. So my slope is -6/5. And so we have 4 main types of slope. We have positive slope, which looks like you're climbing up a mountain. We have negative slope, which looks like you are sliding down a slide. We have zero slope, as if you are walking across a floor. And undefined slope is a vertical line. The point slope form of the equation of a line is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we want to write an equation in point slope form for the line passing through the points 4, -3, and -2, 6. Then solve the equation for y. So first things first, we need to find the slope between these 2 pairs of points. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is 6 minus -3 all over -2 minus 4. We have a double negative on the top, so this really becomes 6 plus 3 all over -2 minus 4. But this is just 9 over -6. Now we can simplify this just a little bit by taking a 3 out of both pieces, and we get -3/2. So that's my slope. Now for point slope, it doesn't matter which point you pick. I could pick 4, -3, or I can pick -2, 6. Either one will give you the exact same answer when you solve for y. So pick the one that looks easier. So in this case, I'm going to pick negative 2, 6. So we have y minus y1 is 6 is equal to, our slope we found was negative 3/2 times x minus negative 2. So now we just want to solve for y. Well, I have a double negative with my x, and I become x plus 2. We have y minus 6 equals negative 3/2 times x plus 2. And now we just want to distribute the negative 3/2. So y minus 6 equals negative 3/2 x minus minus 6 over 2. But this is just y minus 6 equals negative 3/2 x minus 3. And then adding 6 to both sides, we get that y equals negative 3/2 x plus 3. And so we took something in point-slope form and we turned it into slope-intercept form, which is the next form we're going to talk about. So the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where your y-intercept is b. So we have seen functions in this form, and these are called linear functions. If a linear function's equation is in slope-intercept form, we can use the y-intercept and the slope to obtain its graph. So we like slope-intercept because it's the easiest one to graph. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to plot the point containing the y-intercept on the y-axis. This is the point 0b. You'll obtain a second point using the slope, which is m. Write m as a fraction and use rise over run, starting at the point containing the y-intercept to plot this point. Use a straight edge to draw a line through the 2 points. Draw arrowheads at the ends of the lines to show that the line continues indefinitely in both directions. So first you want to plot your y-intercept, and then you will use your slope to find your second point. So let's go ahead and try that on the first one. So your y-intercept is the piece that is not attached to your x. So in this case, it's the 2. So my y-intercept is the point 0, 2, and my slope is negative 3/2. And so with slope, you have 2 different options. I can go down 3 and to the right 2, or I can go up 3 and to the left 2. Either one of these directions will give you a point on the same line. So let's go ahead and plot 0, 2 first. So from 0, 2, let's go down 3 units. We go 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 2 units. And so my second point can be plotted right there. Let's try the other direction just to show that it falls on the exact same line. This time I'm going to go up 3 units and go to the left 2 units. So in either case, our points were going through the same line. So this is f of x. Go ahead and pause the video and try g of x on your own. So for this one, the y-intercept is the +1. So our y-intercept is 0, 1. My slope is 3/5, which means I can go up 3 units into the right 5, or I can go down 3 units into the left 5. Either one will give you the same line. So let's go ahead and plot this in a different color, starting at 0, 1. We're going to go up 3 units, and then go to the right 5. Or we can go down 3 units and go to the left 5. And so this is the easiest way to graph a line. Plot your y-intercept and then use your slope to find the second line, the second point. So let's talk about horizontal and vertical lines. So if a line is horizontal, its slope is 0 or m equals 0. All horizontal lines have the equations of the form y equals b. Where b is the y-intercept of the line, and the slope of a horizontal line is always 0. Because any vertical line can intersect the graph of a horizontal line, y equals b only once, a horizontal line is the graph of a function. The linear function f of x equals b is often called the constant function. A vertical line is given by an equation of the form x equals a, where a is the x-intercept of the line and the slope of a vertical line is undefined. No vertical line represents a linear function. Horizontal and regular lines do, but vertical lines do not. So let's go ahead and graph our 2 lines here. Y equals -4. So this is a horizontal line at -4. Now go ahead and pause the video and try the second one on your own. X equals 2, that's going to be a vertical line at 2. And so you just come over to 2 units to the right. And you get x equals 2. The general form of the equation of a line is ax plus by plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a and b are not both 0. We don't use this form that much because it doesn't tell us too much about the line, but we can transform this form into other forms so that we can figure out the slope and the y-intercept. So we have 3x plus 2y minus 4 equals 0. We want to know the slope and the y-intercept. So the best form to turn this into is slope-intercept. So we want to solve for y. We have 3x plus 2y minus 4 equals 0. So let's solve for y. We're going to add 4 to both sides. And we have 3x plus 2y equals 4. Now we want to subtract 3x from both sides. So we get 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. And the last thing we can do is divide by 2. And so we get that y equals negative 3/2 x plus 2. So now that we're in slope-intercept form, we can easily find our slope and the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the piece that is not attached to x. So in this case, my y-intercept is 0, 2. And my slope is the piece that is attached to the x. So it's negative 3/2. So now let's talk about graphing with the standard form. So we want to use the intercepts to graph anything that's in the form of ax plus by plus c equals 0. So to find the x-intercept, you let y be 0 and solve for x. So it's the opposite of what you would want it to be. For x-intercept, you let y be 0. To find the y-intercept, you let x be 0. Once you found your two intercepts, you can just draw a line between the 2 points. So let's go ahead and try this with 4x minus 3y minus 6 equals 0. So to find the x-intercept, you let y be 0. So we have 4x minus 3 times 0 minus 6 equals 0. Well, the 3 and the 0 are going to go to 0, so we don't care. We have 4x minus 6 equals 0. Adding 6 to both sides, we have 4x is equal to 6. And dividing by 4, we have x equals 6/4, or dividing by 2, we have x equals 3/2. So we have 3/2, comma 0 as 1 point. That's our x-intercept. So let's go ahead and plot that. That's about 1.5, comma 0. Now let's go ahead and find the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, you let x be 0. So we have 4 times 0 minus 3y minus 6 equals 0. So 4 times 0 just goes to 0. We have negative 3y minus 6 equals 0. Adding 6 to both sides, we have negative 3y equals 6. And then dividing by negative 3, we have 6 divided by negative 3, which is negative 2. So we have the point 0, negative 2. So let's go ahead and plot that one. So once we have our 2 points, all we have to do is draw a line between them.